afternoon, EmmaJane. Thanks for coming to talk to me today. And I think I'm right in saying that you've been working on the Volunteer Passport scheme now for over a year. So you're definitely the person that we need to be talking to find out some more information and answer some of our frequently asked questions. So first off, can you tell me a little bit about the passport scheme?
Yes, so it began just a couple of years ago, approached by the NHS, and they asked us about online platforms with regards to testing and trialling different platforms, and that was to see if we could create a digital passport for the residents of Northumberland. So it's about making it easier for volunteers without being bogged down with paperwork and things like that. So that trial that went ahead, after testing many different platforms, we went with one company called Assemble. The pilot was so successful and the digital platform was a success that we actually secured further funding from NCC. And then this investment allowed us to kind of expand into the wider community of Northumberland.
That's great that you were able to secure additional funding. Can you explain a little bit more about the Assemble platform for us, please?
Yes, so as I mentioned before, it's a digital initiative online platform through a company called Assemble. And it's to simplify how residents are able to find, track and also get credit for their volunteer work. It's managed by us, Thriving Together Northumberland, but as I said, it's through the Assemble platform. It's available on your computer, your laptop and even on your phone as an app. So it makes it easier to be notified of any events and things that might be upcoming. The good thing about Assemble is there's lots of positives for the volunteer. So there's lots of ways of tracking, so it records your hours, it can record your training and also your achievements. You are given digital badges and certificates. So if you've done a specific skill or if you've done kind of a one-off activity, then your organisation might allocate you that on the system. And also, it's all about that word passport, so it's very portable. So, for example, if you were volunteering with an organisation and then you did all of your background checks, such as your DBS and your training, that passport then stays with you and it's about streamlining. So if you were to see another activity on Assemble and you applied for that, your information moves with you. So just like a passport, it goes with you. So you're able to move between those roles easy. You don't have to wait for emails or phone calls from managers or volunteer coordinators. All of that is coming through on Assemble. So you can browse roles, sign up for shifts, and you can even message your volunteer coordinator or manager directly through that. The good positive about it as well is if you're looking for work or a career change, you can show a potential employer, a professional, the passport, so it's verified of everything that you've achieved, including certificates and badges that you've earned.
That sounds like such a great scheme. But let's say that I was going to sign up for the passport today. I know that you have all the opportunities available on the Thriving Together website, so I could search through those to find out which one I wanted to do. But could you talk me through the process of getting signed up once I've made that decision?
Yeah, of course. So signing up is designed to be really as straightforward as possible. So once you've found that perfect role on the Thriving Together website, it would then take you to a link with Assemble. That would be a new pop-up box. And the opportunity would have a box saying click here to apply. It does tell you a little bit more about the role, where you would be located. It also includes the skills and qualities that you require, who you would be kind of accountable to, so the manager of that organisation. Once you've clicked apply, it's just a few short questions such as your name, your date of birth and your address, and a little bit why you're applying for the role. There's no paper, no scanning, no posting, everything is, as I say, digital online. When you're signed up, you get your own profile on Assemble, so you'll get emailed your own secure password, which, like anything these days, you'll log in and it'll ask you to change your password, so only you know that information. And this is the beginning of your passport journey. So from this moment, all your details are stored in one place, so you've never got to fill out these basic details for a Northumberland role again. So one of the best things about the system is that you're never kept in the dark. This is a lot of feedback that we've had from volunteers that are currently working with the system. So both you as a volunteer and the organisation are kept up to date throughout the entire vetting process. So for example, if your organisation that you've chosen requires 2 references, if one of those comes back, you'll get an automated email saying, we've received your first reference, we're just waiting for one more. So it eliminates that waiting, so that black hole of feeling where you wonder if your application's been lost. It hasn't, because you're kept up to date on the way. Another good thing about the system is the automated vetting. So the system handles all of that for you. So if your role requires a DBS check, the DBS check is flagged in the system. So your organisation then guides you through the digital steps of doing that. Again, your communication is through the system, so you're kept up to date. Then you would just get your welcome email, induction and your training. So the training has just actually been updated. So there's now up to 400 training courses for you to access through the NCC Learning Pool. We only ask, just don't want to scare you thinking that you're going to do 400 training courses. We only ask for 4 modules, so every volunteer for Thriving Together, we ask for 4 modules. Some of the organisations may ask for additional training, which is all recorded through Assemble, but those 400 training courses are available and you can do that at your leisure should you wish. And then the last thing I'd probably say at this stage would be to download the Assemble app, so then you can manage your shifts, log your hours and stay connected with your team on the go.
You've got 22 different volunteer opportunities on the website at the moment, which is absolutely amazing. But can you give me a little bit more information about some of those?
Yeah, of course. So as you say, obviously those opportunities on the Assemble portal, there's not just one type of role, it's a gateway to the entire community. So opportunities that cover lots of different sectors. So for example, we've got health and wellbeing with roles like the community engagement volunteer with Health Watch Northumberland. We've got positions within family hubs around Northumberland where you can be that friendly face for new parents to meet and greet as they enter the hub. We've got retail and charity support, so we've got a great presence in the retail sector. So we've got the Children North East shop in Morpeth. So that role's perfect for those who enjoy being in a busy town centre. Obviously you're meeting people, but you're also helping raise vital funds for children and families. We've got high impact roles with Citizens Advice Northumberland around advice and advocacy. We've also got the Living Barracks, who are located in Berwick, which is around culture and the heritage. So you could be a marketing distribution volunteer, tongue twister. Or you could be supporting your local library as a meet and greet volunteer in Wylam, Prudder or Amble. And there's also environmental opportunities, so outdoor roles such as the Learning Hive, gardening volunteer for the Northern Learning Trust, or you could be an NCC Amble Library garden volunteer. And obviously that's just a few to mention. So in terms of location, we've made sure there's coverage right across the county, whether you're as far north in Berwick or over in Hexham in the west. We've got obviously the heart of the county in Morpeth, Ashington and Blythe. There's obviously lots to do and lots to choose from. But on there we've also got home digital roles. So those who want to contribute and volunteer but without the travelling. But most importantly, the commitment is entirely flexible. So as a volunteer you get to choose how many hours you would like to volunteer, what days you would like to volunteer. They're not set days and times. So you make the choice, and the passport is designed to fit your life, making sure that volunteering is a joy and not a chore.
There's certainly lots to choose from there. Volunteer management can be a huge administrative task for some of those smaller voluntary and community groups. So could you perhaps explain to them how the passport will help them?
Yeah, of course. So obviously going through the pilot, we worked with 5 organisations to obviously get it just right for the organisations and the volunteers themselves. But what I saw was kind of the burden that is usually hidden in the background. So there was many hours spent with spreadsheets, with paperwork, with volunteers messaging their private phones on WhatsApp. But that's all taken away with the passport. So the passport acts as a main central point. So instead of using those trackers manually, everything is in one location. So hours are logged on the system, communication is handled, and everything is secure on the portal. So it doesn't just save time, it also enables volunteer managers and organisations to look at data and obviously the history behind the data, and making sure it's all secure in one professional hub. So onboarding is traditionally where we found that most of the drop-offs happened with volunteers. That was because, as we said, everything was manual and it was a slow process, so volunteers got bored and decided it wasn't for them. However, because it's a seamless digital platform, it alleviates all of that. So once the application is filled in, the system takes over and managers are able to move through the stages easy on the system. So it eliminates the need for chasing by phone or emails for DBSs or references. That's all again done on the system. And you would only need to step in as an organisation for the final interview or an induction, and the system handles all that vetting and all the behind the scenes for you. What we've learned is, I've worked with lots of organisations now, is small groups, data is the key to survival. So when organisations are applying for grants or reporting back to funders, you've got to prove what impact you have made as an organisation. So this meant going through hours of paperwork, looking at old registers, guessing how much time people have kind of said. However, the passport is all about a one-click report. So there's lots of reports on the system where you can look at how many volunteers might have joined in a specific time period, how many hours have been delivered within one role or as all roles as an organisation. There's lots of filters within the report system. So because all the hours are logged, whether it's training, whether it's volunteering, or even just a volunteer meeting, for example, all those are captured in Assemble. So it's about showing you as an organisation the true impact that you make, and you've got that vital hard evidence and data to show funders. In a sense, it's keeping your doors open.
That's all really interesting and very helpful information. But say I was a volunteer who'd been helping a local community group for a couple of months, and now I was thinking about applying for a job. How would the volunteer passport help me do that?
It works in many positive ways. So obviously employers want to see proof of your skills, if you're a reliable person, and the commitment that you might have to bring to their organisation. So the three specific ways, so I've looked back through the feedback that we've had from volunteers and their organisations as well that are currently using Assemble and the passport. So the top one that came out was the recording of hours. So instead of just guessing how many times you've contributed, it gives you a definite number of obviously the hours that you've logged. So that'll provide the consistency that the job that you would be applying for would be asking for. Again, we're going back to the badges and the certificates. So it tracks those specific skills that you've demonstrated. So whether it's under communication or teamwork, even leadership. So basically you're building a portfolio of your competence and what you're able to do and bring to that role in the job that's advertised. So it's basically turning your volunteering into a digital CV. So it's giving you the confidence to be able to say to that employer, I don't just have a passion for this job, but I can actually show you evidence of how I've supported other organisations through my volunteering journey.
There's obviously a lot of benefits to both organisations and volunteers signing up to the passport. So from what you know, working with both, what have people told you are the top 3 advantages of being part of the passport scheme?
Yeah, I've been visiting the volunteers and going out to the places that they are doing their volunteering. So it's been nice to put faces to the names and just have a little chat to them and get some feedback about what they like and obviously any improvements that could be made. So the top thing that came out from most of the volunteers was about the flexibility. So the flexibility is available across all the roles that are advertised. So you're not saying you must volunteer every Tuesday at 10 a.m. You might just have 1 or 2 hours to offer a week, and that's totally fine. So you're still giving that time to the organisation, and obviously it means so much to the organisations that are recruiting. We do have an on-hold feature. So we had a few questions where if they may go on holiday or they want to pause their volunteering because obviously it's life, people lead busy lives. Sometimes we just need a break but we want to come back to it. So there is an on-hold feature, So in your actual profile on Assemble, you can just slide the toggle along on hold, and you can put specific dates in. And it means you can either choose to still get notified that there's events happening, or you can totally cut off all contact. So you're not getting emails and thinking, oh, I don't want to know this because I'm having a little break. So when you're ready to come back, you would just toggle it back on, and then you're good to go again. And then I think the third one would be the actual visualization of seeing the impact that your hours is offering to the organisation. So a lady that I spoke to just said she couldn't believe how many hours she'd given, and all of the hours were just so beneficial to the organisation, but to her as a person, she got to meet other people that enjoyed doing what she was doing, and she made friendships, and they've gone out and had coffee to the cafe and things. So it's a huge boost to each of the volunteers involved. So you're helping organisations, but it's also good for yourselves as well. It's got that real sense of pride and showing the scale of the impact that you're offering in the community.
There might be a lot of people who's listening to this today who are wondering how safe the Assemble app actually is. So what privacy features do you have, and how could you calm anyone's fears about signing up?
Yeah, so as I mentioned at the beginning, Catherine, obviously we've trialled and tested lots of different platforms. So obviously making sure the privacy and GDPR rules obviously sit within us, and that insurance as well. So we've got that all covered. So one of the best things about the passport is that your data that's on your page, you can access at all times. So you've got total visibility to what is actually being seen and what's being held. So you can update them at any time. So whether it's obviously your contact number, address, emergency contact details, that's all on there. But you manage your own privacy and what you're actually seeing in the consent settings. So very different to having a physical folder. So obviously when we were at school and we had them red folders, used to,
yes,
yeah, very different to that. That could just be left and be seen by anyone in an office, or even just information on a spreadsheet. It's not open to everyone. Everybody on Assemble has got strict role-based permissions, so the managers only see their teams. They don't see across different other managers' teams. So if you've got your emergency contacts on there, or your DBS, other volunteers or unauthorised staff, for example, cannot have any access at all. There's also an internal message system on the app through the directory. So you don't need to give out your personal phone number or your private email address with multiple people. Everything is stored on Assemble, and it keeps kind of your personal details private, but it also keeps you fully connected with the team because you're able to message through the directory and they're not receiving any of your personal details. On the flip side, for organisations, obviously data protection is key. So this system is GDPR ready system, so it protects the organisation just as it much protects obviously the volunteer. And because obviously it's got that portability safety, so because the vetting is done once within this high security cloud on Assemble, it actually reduces the number of times that the volunteers got to share their sensitive information and their documents with different people. So rest assured, it's all safe and secured, and I am data and compliance officer, so I can definitely say that.
Fantastic. And there we have it, a whistle-stop tour of the Volunteer Passport. Thank you very much to EmmaJane for giving up her time today to come and talk to us about it. If there's anyone listening who'd like more information, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Yeah, so it's been a pleasure to talk about the passport today. As you can tell, I'm very dedicated, and I love the passport, obviously seeing it grow and where we're at now, it's lovely. So if you're feeling inspired and you want to take that next step, there's 3 easy ways to get involved. So you can either head over to the Thriving Together Northumberland website, so there's links on there to what vacancies there are, the opportunities, which would take you direct to Assemble. You can either follow us on social media under Thriving Together Northumberland. Catherine regularly puts posts on and opportunity spotlights and obviously shout outs to the different organisations that are involved. And it's also a great way for you to see the real impact that's happening with the volunteers in those organisations as well. Or if you're not quite sure, if you've got some questions for me, or you're not quite sure about where you want to go or what to do, or you need some help with Assemble itself, just send us an email. And again, the contact details are on the website. It's admin@thrivingtogether
Northumberland.org.uk.
Yeah, I had a mind blank then. The last question, I looked at Catherine.
Oh.
But we're here to make the process as smooth as possible. So yes, just reach out, and we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you soon on your volunteering journey.
Oh, thank you very much, EmmaJane. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
Catherine.
We're so grateful to EmmaJane for giving up her time to talk about the passport. But have you got something you'd like to talk to us about? You can let us know by emailing admin@thrivingtogethernorthumberland.org.uk and we'll be in touch. Who knows, maybe you could be our next star guest.